What's going on YouTube? I'm AV Obsessed, and if you're watching this video on my channel, that means that you probably are too. And today I am bringing you guys a full system review rather than just a single component. So we've got integrated amplifier, high-end audio streamer, and a nice pair of bookshelf speakers and stands to even go with them. So this is a whole system for under $1,500 that gives you some really good quality performance at not a whole heck of a lot of money and pretty easy setup. So let me roll you guys a little clip so you can just get a sample.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the heart through ice covered in ink. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. The wood's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
At the beating heart of our little 2-channel audiophile entry-level system here, we've got the excellent sounding Rotel A8 integrated amplifier at just $450. The sound quality that this thing puts out is like excellent. Like, it's only rated at 30 watts per channel, but trust me, it will drive these speakers and every other speaker that I actually tested with it, including like KEF R3 Metas, which aren't the easiest speakers to drive and also cost many times the cost of this amplifier. It drove those speakers just fine. So for the speakers that I'm going to recommend to put with this amp, this is going to be plenty. Now it does have some downsides. It's analog only. If you're looking for a system that you're going to hook up to your TV and it's going to run double duty as like a stereo enhancement to your, rather than using TV speakers and then also music, you're going to want to look elsewhere. I'm going to make some recommendations towards the end of the video for if you're trying to do that kind of a system, but we're looking at just pure 2-channel music. This is all this is going to do kind of a system, and this is going to be the amp that I would recommend for that. So if the Rotel A8 integrated is the beating heart of our system, then the Bluesound Node Nano is the brains of our system. With the newest flagship DAC chip in it from ESS, the 9039Q2M, this thing gives you just like top tier audio quality at just the low price of $300. I sound like a salesperson trying to sell you this system. I'm not making any money if you guys buy this system. This is just a general recommendation. But yeah, $300 for the Bluesound Node Nano here gives you access to the BlueOS app on your phone to access pretty much every streaming service that you could possibly want and get really good sound quality out of it going into your Rotel A8 integrated. Just great for if you're just going for straight up 2-channel music only type of system. Now, there are a couple of downsides to this streamer because like if you were to go for the $550, just the standard Bluesound Node, like Node 4th gen, I guess technically you would call it, you get an HDMI ARC input on it so you can hook it up to a TV, and you get a bass managed subwoofer out. But like I said, with this system, we are going for just a straight up 2-channel hi-fi music listening system, not looking to do a system that's connecting to a TV. So we don't need the HDMI ARC. And if you had a bass managed sub out on the Bluesound Node and you were using it with an integrated amplifier, then you would have to basically use the integrated amplifier. You'd want to set the volume at pretty much whatever you would want the maximum to ever be, and then use the app for the Bluesound Node to control volume. That way it controls the volume of your main speakers and your subwoofer at the same time. And at that point, you might as well just buy like a standard power amp, not using an integrated amplifier, because then you don't have to worry about someone messing with the wrong volume slider, essentially, and possibly messing up your integration between your subwoofer and your main speakers. So for this system, I know everyone's gonna have tons of suggestions, and that's fine. The more comments, the better. But for this system, Node Nano and Rotel A8 as the front end for a pure, basic 2-channel music system. Perfect combination in my mind. And for the speakers, I of course went with the Elac DB63 bookshelf speakers. 3rd generation Elac debut series, 6.5-inch bookshelves with the 1-inch aluminum dome tweeter and the neat little phase plug waveguide setup here. I have a full video of these speakers on the channel, so I don't really need to go into too much depth with them. But I mean, speaking of depth, they play pretty deep for a bookshelf speaker, have really, really good clear highs, pretty decent imaging, not the best, but for a $450 pair of speakers, excellent sounding speaker. If you haven't seen my full review, go ahead and watch that video. Something that I've noticed watching a lot of audiophile YouTube out there is that not very many of these guys talk about what speaker stands they use, and I have a feeling it's because a lot of them have the speaker stands provided to them by another manufacturer, and they are pretty expensive speaker stands. Like a lot of the audiophiles, when they're doing a bookshelf speaker review, they're using these speaker stands by this company called Solid Steel, and they're like these easel style, like 3-legged speaker stands, and they're $600 speaker stands, which is crazy. Like $600 for speakers that are like $450. You put a $450 pair of speakers on a $600 pair of stands, you're nuts. Like that's just bananas. So I kind of have been searching for a while to see like what would be a really good alternative at a really good price, like something that's going to be really well built but not completely stupid expensive. And what I actually came up with, I found these they actually have them on Amazon, but they actually have them at a better price on Best Buy's website. But there's something kind of weird. I think that they're like messed up somehow, like their listing is messed up on Best Buy's website. What a surprise. A lot of things are messed up on Best Buy's website. Never look at specifications for anything on Best Buy's site because it's almost always wrong. But that's a little side rant. I almost called them Solid Steel, but Sonos Steel Foundation Series 26-inch bookshelf speaker stands are $189 from Best Buy. But the weird part is you have to go into the store to order them because the website is broken, and even though these are not new and they've been out for years as far as I can tell, according to the website, it says coming soon where the like add to cart button should be. But if you go into the store, it's easiest if you go in with the SKU number and just say, hey, I want to order these, just ship them to my house, then you can do that. You'll get them within a couple of days. So that's what I did because on Amazon, I believe they were charging like $229 or something like that for the pair. So yeah, the model number is the SF26-B1 Sonos Steel Foundation Series. And they make other heights too. They have a 22-inch and I believe a 32-inch. And so this is kind of like the mid-height variant. But they're like pretty good quality, like a nice solid steel base and a pair of thick solid steel legs. And you can fill the verticals here so that they don't ring like that when you tap on them, and that's supposed to make it basically make it so that they don't ring when you're playing loud music. I don't know if you'd ever hear the ringing of these over the music that's coming out of your speakers, but if you want, you can fill them with sand or kitty litter or whatever. But those are the speaker stands that I recommend because there's a lot of like cheap stuff out there, but these are pretty solid and well built and easy to put together.
And on we'll go through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on we'll go.
So this section of the video is just for beginners. If it's the first time you've ever set up your own stereo system and you're wondering, is it hard? No, it's super easy, and it's almost impossible for you to screw something up so badly that you ruin it. So don't be too worried, especially with a system of this level. Basically, step one, set your amp somewhere good and solid, somewhere that's gonna keep it clean and dry and away from being stepped on or kicked or anything like that. And then you're gonna want to connect your speaker cables from the amplifier to the speakers. Red is positive, black is negative. You're gonna wanna make sure that you're connecting the positive and the negative to the right inputs on each of your speakers. And then to get the Bluesound node connected to the amp, it's just a pair of RCA cables. So on the back of this, there's gonna be a R and an L, that's the right and the left. Right is almost always red, left is almost always white. And then on the back of the Rotel, the input that I use is the auxiliary input. It doesn't really matter. You could use the CD or the tuner as well, but yeah, I just connected to auxiliary, and so white is on the top for left, red is on the bottom for right. And then all you gotta do is plug the power for the amplifier into the wall and plug the AC adapter for the Bluesound node into the wall as well. And then plug the USB-C from the AC adapter for the node into the back of the USB-C power input for the Bluesound node. And then it's going to basically it's going to be in seeking mode. So then you're going to take out your phone and you're going to install the BlueOS app on your phone. As soon as you open that app up, it should find your device and it's going to walk you through the setup steps. Super basic, easy stuff. It's mostly going to ask you to connect to your Wi-Fi and then check for updates, and it's going to update the unit. And once you do that, you can sign into whatever music streaming service that you want to use, and then the Bluesound node is going to be ready to go. Actually, one more step, highly recommended step for the Node Nano. When you're using it with an integrated amplifier and you're using this volume control, you're going to want to hit the settings button. Like if you go to players and then there's a little 3 dots button, and then go to player settings, and then you're going to want to set the volume to fixed volume mode, because you don't want to have multiple volume controls where you're able to turn it up and down on your phone and turn it up and down here. I mean, you can if you want, but a single volume control is usually better. So yeah, super basic, straightforward setup. Oh yeah, and then another thing on the back of the amplifier, if you want to basically make it so you never need to turn it on and off, push the power button in on here, push the auxiliary in so that you're on the right input here, and then on the back where they have the little toggle switch for auto on off, you're going to want to turn that to on. Now what that is, it's a signal sensing circuit that's built into the amplifier. So if there's no signal for, usually it's somewhere around 10 or 15 minutes, the amp is going to automatically go into standby mode, where it's basically going to be off and it's not going to draw any more than somewhere around 1 or 2 watts. And then if you pull out your phone and you start streaming music again using your Bluesound node, it's going to sense that signal coming into the amp, and it's going to click it back on, and your music's going to start playing. So you don't have to like actually physically turn this thing on and off every time. So what can you expect from this system versus, you know, like a lot of people are doing these days and buying a couple of Sonos speakers or not AirPods, what do they call the Homepods, the big Apple Homepods. Well, what you are going to get from a system like this is just a worldly, like otherworldly better sound versus what those things offer. The bass that you're going to get from this system is going to absolutely blow away what you're going to get from Sonos like Era 100s or 300s. In comparison to the Sonos Play 5 that is still a thing, the Sonos Play 5 is surprisingly decent for what it is, but at $550 a piece, that's not counting stands for them, which I believe they charge $300 for the stands. So that's a $1,500 sound system right there. I believe that this sound system will outclass that one by quite a bit, particularly in clarity and volume. Now, those things, the Play 5s might have a comparable amount of bass. I still think that the Elac DB63s here will probably outperform them in the bass range as well. And using the BlueOS app is probably a better experience than using the Sonos app. I know that the Sonos app for the past, 6 months now has not been great. So, and the BlueOS app works pretty much flawlessly. The only little issue that I've had with the BlueOS app is once in a while, it'll play the same song 2 times in a row for some reason. Like typically when I'm listening to music, when I'm just like doing things and I'm not listening to a playlist, I'm listening to Amazon Music stations where I pick an artist I like and I say, play similar music essentially. And once in a while, it'll play one song all the way through, it'll finish, and then it'll start up that same song again. That's the only glitch that I have seen with BlueOS so far. So yeah, BlueOS works great. And yeah, you pretty much never need to interact with the amp other than the volume. So yeah, the usability versus Sonos, this is gonna be better, and the sound quality is gonna be far better. And then versus the HomePods, just don't even like think about it. Like the HomePod, yes, for what it is, that little, well, I'm not even talking about the little ball one, but like the little, like the one that looks like probably the size of an old coffee can from the 90s. That thing does put out a surprising amount of sound for its size, but it is not even in the same like realm of discussion as a system like this. So if you're actually looking to get into like real high quality audio and sound that you're going to be able to not just fill a room, but dominate a room with if you wanted to, this little affordable basic sound system is gonna do that without any problems, and it's gonna do it forever too. Like, that's the other thing about this type of system versus going with speakers like the Sonos speakers or the HomePods. If anything, the only thing in this system that could become obsolete is the Node Nano here. And I have a feeling that that probably won't happen for at least like 10 or 15 years. But you know, Sonos, they could like roll out a Gen 3 update in a year or two and say, yeah, none of our old stuff works with the new app. So now all of a sudden, all your gear is obsolete. This system, this amp, these speakers, they'll never go obsolete. They're always gonna work. I mean, unless you blow them up. But yeah, this is the way to go if you want a sound system that you can keep for a long time. Now, this is the bonus section of the video where I mentioned that if you can find them on sale, I would actually, with this Rotel A8 amp, I would pair the Klipsch RP600M2s with this system over the Elac DB63s if you can find them on sale. Pretty much, it seemed like at least like 4 or 5 months before the holiday season, the RP600M2s here were on sale for $500, and they even at one point dropped down to like below $400, I believe. But and so when I was planning to make this video, I was going to be saying to buy this system with the RP600M version 2 here. But then it looks like since the holiday season has ended, these speakers are no longer on sale, and it looks like they're about $650 just about everywhere. So at that price, I don't know if they're going to be worth the step up over the Elacs. For $500, if you can find them on that sale price again, which I'm sure they will eventually go back down to that price, then these speakers do seem to play a little bit better with the low 30 watt per channel output of the Rotel A8. You get a little bit better bass and a little bit better clear highs out of this speaker, and they're more efficient speakers overall, so they'll play louder with that limited power output. Although, like I said earlier, those Elacs, they can play plenty loud off of the just 30 watt per channel rated power output of that Rotel A8. But yeah, if you can find these on sale, they're a better pairing to the Rotel, it seems like. So now this is going to be the section of the video where I talk about things that I am inevitably going to see in the comments, so I will know that people didn't actually watch far enough into the video to see that I did actually address the thing that they brought up in the comments. So basically, one of the issues with this system, the way that I have it spec'd out here, is there is not really any good way of integrating a subwoofer with this system unless you have a subwoofer with speaker level inputs. Then it's fine. You do the bass management on the subwoofer and you're good to go. The other thing is there's no really good way of connecting this system to a TV. So, but I did say, this is a system that is just for if you're looking for just good quality 2-channel music. If you want a system that you can integrate in with a TV and not use a TV, like a soundbar or your TV speakers, that's gonna be a totally different system. And basically what I would recommend for that is I would go with the WIM Ultra. Or if you want to get a little bit higher quality streaming audio, like sound quality, go with the $549 Bluesound Node, the one that's just called the Node, not the Node Nano and not the Node Icon, because that one's going to be $1,000 and I'm anxiously awaiting that one to come out. But yeah, the Node 4 technically, I believe, is what it should be called. That one has the subwoofer out and the HDMI input. And then since you're going to be using the subwoofer out on either your WIM Ultra, if you're going for that budget, or on the Bluesound Node, then I would say you don't want to use an integrated amplifier with that type of system. So the amplifier I would recommend to pair with your WIM Ultra or Bluesound Node is going to actually be the Emotiva BassX A2. Totally different class of product. It's just a basic power amplifier versus an integrated amplifier, which means if you are new to the audiophile world, an integrated amplifier is an amplifier that has its own built-in preamp stage. A preamp is essentially something that gives you input switching. So this one has 4 different inputs, auxiliary, CD, tuner, and phono. And then the other part of being a preamp is having volume control. So an integrated amplifier has volume control and input switching, and then just a straight up power amplifier has only your inputs. So on the Emotiva BassX A2, it only has RCA inputs, there's no balanced. And then it just takes in that signal and amplifies it. There's no volume control, there's no input selector, nothing. The only thing that thing has is inputs, RCA inputs, and then speaker outputs. And then one thing that's nice, if you are integrating that system, the Emotiva Basics A2, it has a 12 volt trigger auto on-off type of a system. So on the back of the Node or the WIM Ultra, there's basically it looks like in what most people these days call an aux port, a 3.5 millimeter mono jack. And you plug in a 3.5 millimeter mono cable from the back of the WIM Ultra or your Bluesound Node into the 12 volt trigger in on the Emotiva Basics A2, and then you set the power to the auto setting on the back of that amp, and then whenever the Bluesound Node or the WIM Ultra is playing audio, it's going to tell that amp to turn on. So you basically just turn that amp on, and it's going to be controlled by the source, the WIM Ultra or the Bluesound Node. So if you are looking to do a system where you want to be able to have HDMI input because you want to use that for your TV, and then also you want to have the ability to integrate a subwoofer with bass management, then yeah, it's a completely different system. So this is your basic entry-level system for just listening to 2-channel music, and then that other system that I would recommend, which I don't have those products right now, would be a completely different category of system. This is $800 in total for the two front-end components. For this, you're at, actually no, it's $750 because it's $450 for this guy, $300 for this guy. So $750 for these two components. If you went with the Emotiva Basics A2 and the WIM Ultra, I believe the WIM Ultra is $300 as well, or maybe it's $330. And then it's $580, I'm just gonna say, for the Basics A2. So yeah, you're looking at more like $920 if I'm right, in the WIM Ultra is $330 still, $330 and $579, so $910. So yeah, it's a little bit more expensive of a system, but you're gonna get a lot more power and a lot more features. But this is a very, very good entry point for just 2-channel music. So if you have some recommendations, I know that there's gonna be people making recommendations. So if you have recommendations for a system like this, an entry-level system, or if you want to talk about what your entry-level system was 20, 30 years ago when you first got into audio, or some people 50, 60 years ago. I like vintage components as much as the next guy. I have some, what are they, 45 years old now, Infinity RS 2.5s that I actually mentioned in the review for the Rotel here. Love those things. They're amazing. They were my dad's, so they have an emotional attachment as well. Yeah, so put that kind of stuff down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.